Hello, this is Ali Azim from Ali Azim Services. For the upcoming videos, this is so much important to subscribe our channel. This is the only channel in the South Asia that provides you with an accurate information about your visa, the border opening, and the intakes available in Canada and Australia. So follow our official Facebook page as well. The link is in the description. You can go and click on the link to talk to me one-on-one if you have any problem in your visa. Ali Azim, based in Pakistan. Today's video is going to get rid of the conflictions that you have in your minds. And that is the confliction whether you should take the Feb-March intake in 2021 or July intake 21. My dear, besides Feb-March intake and July intake, there is another intake that is called the additional intake, or that is called the separate intake. That is a special intake that is offered by some of the institutes in the likes of the Torrens University, in the likes of Victorian Institute, in the likes of the Trinity College, in the likes of the UTS. That is the May and June intake. So this is an additional intake that you can take, but there is a condition. If you want to take July and May and June intake, this is important that you need to complete your education, or you should be a student who just completed the higher secondary school education in 2020. And in 2020, if you have completed your education, you can go beyond the Feb and March and you can take the additional intake of the May, or you can take the July intake. If you take the additional intake of the May and the July intake 2021, you will not be asked any evidence by the education provider in Australia or DHA, Department of Home Affairs, and you will straight away get your visa. But I'm sorry, if you have completed your intermediate in 2019 or 2018, and you still say that you have to go for the additional intake of the May, June, or July, you'll have to give an evidence of the gap. So what is an evidence of the gap? Department of Home Affairs, Immigration Australia, and the best education providers in Australia. You know, there is a combination, a working relationship between DHA and education providers in Australia. So if education providers, you have more than 6 month gap in your education providers are always asking you for the evidence of the gap. So if you have completed your education in 2019 and 2018, that is going to be very hard for you to accommodate yourself or compensate your gap, or you can say that this is very hard for you to adjust yourself as far as gap is concerned, because being an intermediate student or the grade 12 students or A-level student, that seems pretty hard. And on the other side, that you have been doing a job and you're providing the job ladder. So job ladder after grade 12 isn't a suitable document at all. So that's why if you have completed your higher secondary education grade 12 in 2018 or 2019, the Feb and March intake is the best intake for you. Now, there is a question back in the minds of the students. What about the borders? The borders are still closed. Australian borders are closed. And if we get the visa for the Feb and the March intake, where to stay? Our parents will say that you are not flying, but you have invested huge amount of money. There is a solution that Ali Azim Services is going to bring for you. So I'm going to tell you the solution. If you get the visa for the Feb and the March intake, you can request your agent to defer it. I mean, you can defer your classes for the upcoming July intake, or you can defer your classes for the upcoming additional May and June intake. And by May and June intake, I am 100% sure, 100% sure that the Australian borders will open. But with the quarantine, you must have seen my last video about the quarantine plan, and that plan is going to be discussed, or is being discussed in the media. I was watching some other YouTube channels and the people are perceiving my idea. That is the kind of sourceful news that I shared in my last video. And people were criticizing me that there is no such announcement from the government. But now people have started discussing that video, and this is a plus sort of point for our channel. And that's why, my dear, taking Feb and March intake for the students who completed their education in 2019 and 2018 is important. Get your visa and defer yourself for the upcoming intake. But the students who just completed their higher secondary school in 2020, they still have a chance to apply for the July intake or the additional intake of the May and June. So this is the video that will spur you, that will definitely stimulate your passion to apply for the Australian study visa. After all, this is the matter of your life, and you have to make up your life. You really have to really progress in such a wonderful country, and you can make progress to be the part of the Australian civilization and community once you go over there. So get your visa. The things are going to be positive in the coming 1 or 2 months. Ali Azim, keep smiling.